For a long time, I thought the path to success was just working harder than everybody else. And so I did that to the point of total exhaustion. And it kind of worked, but only up to a very clear ceiling. And what I didn't realize at the time was that my hard work was actually the thing that was keeping me stuck. Because it turns out that what you work on and how you work on it matters far more than how hard you work. And once I saw this, it made it clear why it seems like some people, seem to just sort of effortlessly get ahead, while others work harder and harder and harder and stay stuck. And it all comes down to the single most powerful concept in our economic universe, which is this: leverage. And there are five distinct kinds. And once I understood them and started to apply them in my life, the entire trajectory of my life changed. You're stuck in a linear game. So let me give you a real example. People love to say that YouTube's a slow burn, and for most people, it is. I recently relaunched this channel, and within a week, I'm already almost monetized. And this is not because I worked harder. This is not because I got lucky. This is just because now I understand how the system works. And the views led to subscribers, and the subscribers led to comments, and comments led to inbound conversations. And now my positioning sprint is already on a wait list. Nothing about my effort was extreme. The leverage was. The same thing happened with my messaging work. So I started my career as a copywriter, making like 75 bucks an hour. And then one day, an agency that I was subcontracting for accidentally sent me their SOW. And they were charging like 85K for a project I did in its entirety and made about $4,000. And it was at that exact moment that changed everything for me, because I realized something simple and brutal. If you do not have leverage, you are someone else's leverage. So it was at that moment that I went and I repositioned my skills. I stopped chasing hourly pricing. I stopped pitching clients. And today my work comes inbound at very high fees. And that's what leverage looks like when it's working. And it's not because I'm smarter than you. It's not because I'm better at what I do. It's simply because I have leverage in my life. So what is leverage? Let's define terms. Leverage is any force that allows the same effort to produce a disproportionately larger result. In practical terms, it means doing work once and then having it continue to produce value long after the effort is over. The reason that leverage is so powerful is because it enables compounding. When leverage is present, results stack. Each output feeds the next one. And when leverage is absent, effort resets to zero every single day. This is why jobs are the opposite of leverage, because they are entirely transactional. You're capped, and they only produce as long as you do. Until you build leverage, you are the leverage. People without leverage ask, how do I work harder? How do I do more, right? How do I put more inputs into this thing? But people with leverage think about, how does this compound? How do I make it reusable? How do I stop being the bottleneck? How do I build systems that are going to work for me? And this matters more right now than ever before in human history. AI will increase leverage dramatically, but only for people who own systems. If you work inside systems, if you have a job, the productivity demands will go up and the wages will go down. And people are already feeling this. Once I started seeing the world through this lens, I noticed that leverage shows up in five distinct forms. And what I see is that people chase the wrong ones first. The fifth is where most professionals should start, and it's the one that they think of last. All right, so let's talk about the five kinds of leverage. The first is labor leverage, and this is the industrial lever. Labor leverage is leverage through people, right? It's teams and it's headcounts and it's hierarchy. It dominated the industrial age because coordinating human beings was hard. But today, that same coordination is very, very cheap. And there's a deeper problem with labor leverage. If your leverage disappears when people leave you, then you never really owned it, right? This is why labor-heavy models like agencies are low leverage today, because it's mostly labor arbitrage. The second kind of leverage is capital leverage, and this is the end state lever. This is where you want to end up. Capital leverage is money making more money. It's ownership and equity in assets, and it's incredibly powerful, but only once it's active. And here's the truth that I think people gloss over. Capital does not create momentum. It only accelerates momentum that already exists, and actually is a huge accelerant for number 5. We'll talk about this in a minute. This is why when people say just invest or just save, It's useless advice. Income is the primary driver. A high income compresses decades of savings into a single year. However, capital is where people arrive. It is not where you start. You cannot day trade your way to wealth. All right, the third is technology leverage. This is one-to-many execution. Technology is using tools to turn one person's effort into the output of many. It's code, it's automation, it's AI. And what technology has done, if you look at it from first principles, it's collapsed the cost of execution. What once took many, many people or teams or whatever now takes a couple people and hours instead of weeks or years or months or whatever. And this is a thing that I think people are getting wrong right now, is that technology will not replace judgment, even AI. What it's going to do is multiply the impact or the importance of good judgment. The quality of human judgment matters more now, not less, because there's going to be so much average stuff in the world. But there's a caveat to this. You must own the system if you're going to benefit. My business can do 10 times the revenue with a fraction of the effort, and I will capture that upside. An employee is going to be asked to do 10 times the work for the same or less pay. Sorry, my dog's barking. Ownership is going to determine who gets the leverage from technology. The fourth is media leverage, which is trusted scale. Media leverage is not about just attention, it's about trusted distribution. A key idea here is that trust comes before reach, meaning know what you're talking about before you start with media. Media doesn't create value on its own. What it does is compress the time it takes for value to be recognized. This is why some people can publish once and opportunities appear, or they create a great brand, or they create a niche following where other people will post and post and post and go nowhere. The goal of media is not to be famous. It is to be trusted by a very specific high value group of people who want you to solve their problems. I can sit and create one video talking about a topic, and I can reach tens. People downplay, by the way, the idea of just a video reaching 20 people. If you have 20 high value people who consume your ideas, that is huge leverage. You sit and share your ideas every day at work, and there's 3 people sitting there listening to you. You can get 100 people listening to your idea, or 1,000 or 10,000. You've just exponentially increased your leverage by making use of this permissionless asset that allows you to reach the entire globe from your home. That is massive, massive leverage, but only if you get your story straight first. All right. And the fifth and final kind of leverage, the most important leverage for modern professionals, is skills leverage. This is the modern on ramp to leverage. It's the most understood and most important form of leverage today. Skill leverage is about having rare and high context expertise that's applied to outcomes and not tasks. You are a facilitator of process, not a doer of tasks. In an AI driven world, average knowledge is going to be cheap, right? The entire internet is downloaded into our hands, and we can now access all the just sort of middle grade information in a second. But what becomes rare is niche judgment. It's the experience and the pattern recognition and the stuff that you can't Google, the stuff that the unique opinions and expertise and systems and ideas that you've built at your job or your personal life or in your hobbies. That stuff is not on the internet, and it can't be replicated by AI. And it's in the skills leverage where most people fall into what I call the laundromat fallacy. And what I find is that people think that there's something over there that's going to be easier. There's this new industry or new business model or a new identity. I was talking to a guy who got laid off from Amazon recently, and he was talking to me about how he wanted to, he was in the end stages of a deal to buy a car wash. You have no idea what you don't know about car washes, how much it costs to replace the equipment, how much water they use, what's the labor cost, all this stuff. It's a whole industry that you don't know, whereas you've got a career of knowledge in your head that is unique to you. And instead of turning that into leverage, you're thinking there's something over there. The truth is the opposite. Your existing skills, opinions, expertise are your biggest moat. They took you years to build. Billions of data points have been brought in to hone those ideas. And it's going to let you move at a 10x the speed that a beginner can. In my own life, when I stopped looking for something easier and I started amplifying what I already knew, everything changed. I went from $75 an hour to $75,000 engagements. Skill leverage is your on-ramp into the leverage economy. It is how you earn your way then into the technology and media and capital leverage without having to restart all the compounding you spent your whole career investing in. So, where should you begin? You don't need to quit your job today. You don't have to go reinvent yourself. What you need to do is sit down and get yourself clarity. Stop thinking that more activity is going to solve your problem and start getting clear. Ask yourself this: what transformations do you reliably create? What do people consistently come to you for? Where do you have pattern recognition that other people don't? Whether it's in your personal life, video games, there's a in the freelance realm, there's a pharmacist who help people solve diabetes. Like all of these things is an opportunity for you to create leverage in your life. 5 to 10 good clients a year can literally change the trajectory of the entire future of your life. At the beginning, don't try to have the perfect answer. You're not trying to scale. You're just trying to name the value that you're already creating and find a more leveraged way to deliver that value. And this is something that could literally start changing your life in 60 days from today. Wrapping this up. So here is the core idea. The modern economy does not reward effort evenly. It rewards leverage. And leverage isn't about being smarter or luckier. It's about owning the upside of the stuff that you already do. If you do not have leverage, you are the leverage. The goal is not to stop working. It's to stop being the thing that gets leveraged, that gets consumed, right? So that you can start earning in the way that you actually deserve and get the compounding that you deserve in your life. I'll leave a couple of other videos here that if you enjoyed this, I think you'll enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.